Hey, everybody. Welcome to the back catalog listening party. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well.
Doing well.
Thank you for having us.
So
Awesome.
happy to have you guys here.
So, again, if you just tuned in to the back catalog listening party on Facebook, welcome to the party. Happy Friday. You made it through another week.
We did it.
So it is Friday. So that's a good thing. So if you've lost track of the days, pour yourself a drink, kick back and listen to some music with us. Your hosts are Anthony Ihrig and me, Mother Banjo. And every week we invite different artists to join us to dig back into their back catalog and talk about their songs. And then we all just get to listen to music together and hang out together. So I hope you guys will share comments, questions, and we'll try and answer all of them as we go. So Kim and Quillan Rowe joining us from Plymouth, Minnesota. How you guys doing?
Doing okay.
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And hi, Anne, out there listening. And by the way, cheers. I don't know what you guys are drinking over there for your happy hour.
Water.
LaCroix.
That's an important. I'm drinking. I'm drinking a non-alcoholic cocktail that I did for my Mother Banjo cocktail recipe book called the Banjo Berry.
Oh, nice.
It has tonic and mixed berries, mixed frozen berries. Very easy. And as the juices, as the frozen berries melt and the juice runs down, it turns into this lovely rosé color. So, cheers!
Looks delicious. Cheers! Cheers! What are you guys drinking out there? You guys have something? You feel free to throw it in the comments.
Yep.
We're all just hanging out here, enjoying a beautiful day here in the Twin Cities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to bring out the berries. It felt like summer, so I thought I'd have a drink that seemed to suit it. So. You guys, Roe Family Singers, we've all known each other for a long time. And I think I go back to the days of this recording that we're going to visit. I think we played together first at one of those Art World things at a gallery.
Oh, wow.
With like Jack Cladd and like maybe even Charlie Parr. And this was many years ago, probably around 2008 or 2007. I don't know.
Wow.
Before kids.
Before kids for all of us.
Yep.
I know the first time I met Tony was at Beaters, Duluth.
That's right. That's right.
He was playing in a band called, oh geez, I forgot. Why am I forgetting the name?
Free Range Pickin'.
Oh, yeah.
And I was in a group called Accident Clearinghouse, and we opened for you guys up there.
I remember that.
It was really fun.
That's awesome.
That had to be early aughts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because this Kim and I started playing together in 2003, and Accident Clearinghouse was still going a little bit then, but it was probably right around then, 2002, 2003.
Wow. You know, I was just thinking I invited a lot of friends from all kind of different, genres of music and other people that I've known in different capacities, and not everybody might not know your story. Do you want to just give a kind of a brief, just backstory history of the Roe Family Singers before we dive into your music?
We, Kim and I met teaching for the St. Louis Park School District. And I was in a group called Accident Clearinghouse at the time, or I guess when we very first met, I was still in an Accident Clearinghouse. And then Accident Clearinghouse broke up kind of officially in 2000, but continued playing for quite a bit longer.
And my first band was called Karaoke.
And we started dating in 2001, and we got married in 2003. And then in the fall of 2003, when Johnny Cash and June Carter both died in 2003, we were invited. Accident Clearinghouse was invited to play at a tribute to John and June at Lee's Liquor Lounge, and Accident Clearinghouse wasn't, like I said, it wasn't really around at that point, and so. Kim had been asking to start a band with the two of us, and I kept putting it off and saying, no, it's a bad idea.
It was a bad idea.
And I really wanted to play this tribute because I really liked Johnny Cash's music, and I loved June's music and June's family. June was the daughter of Maybelle Carter from the Carter family, so we wanted to do this tribute. It was important to me, and so we put the Roe Family Singers together on the spot, on the phone with the booker to Lee's, and we've been playing together ever since.
Awesome. Wonderful. That's a great story. And speaking of family, I see my dad's tuned in from Connecticut, both my parents, and Daniel from Japan. He says he's drinking coffee because it's 6 a.m. there.
Hey, Daniel.
So, And hi, Terry, as well. So a lot of folks tuning in today. And I'm excited because today we're going to dig back into your 2008 release, which is actually one of my favorites.
Thank you.
I love it. It's so dark and spooky. I love it.
And it's all original. Is that right, guys?
Yes.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great songs.
And so remind us, you had one, EP before you put out the full length? Is that right?
Yes.
Yep. We had done a year or two before that. We had did a 4-song EP called Andronicus that was named after the Shakespeare play Titus Andronicus. More accurately, was named after Julie Taymor's movie version of it with Anthony Hopkins as Titus Andronicus. And it was 4 songs, and the illustration you're seeing there was based on a picture of us playing at Roadrunner Records, an in-store at Roadrunner Records that Danny Siegelman took of us. Danny was a longtime DJ at Radio K and at The Current. Is a friend of ours for a long time.
How many of those covers did we hand color, do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because we made them all ourselves. We burned them ourselves. Adam, our saw player, who you can see in the upper portion of the drawing, just his knees and his hand and his saw. Oh, nice. Nice.
You're welcome.
Adam had a CD printer at his work.
Cheers.
So, we printed the covers, and then he printed the discs. And then the very first batch of covers that we sold at the very first No Coast Craftorama, those were all hand-colored by
Hand-colored.
Kim and Adam and Adam's wife, Rita, and myself. So if you've got a hand-colored Andronicus, you've got a special thing.
Yeah, that is worth something, folks.
Yeah, I have a
Many
copy,
things.
but it's not colored. It's just black and white. So I don't have a special one, but
Ellen, I remember the first time I remember meeting you, because you mentioned we played a gig together. The first time I remember meeting you was picking you up and giving you a ride to your car at the Mabatma Winter Bluegrass Weekend.
I had to do my radio show. Yeah.
It was super cold, and I didn't know who you were, and I don't normally pick up ladies, but you had a banjo, and I thought she can't be all bad.
Little did you know.
Yeah, exactly. But it was when I dropped you off of your car and I saw your bumper stickers, and I was like, hey, I know who you are.
Oh, yeah. That was funny. I remember that. I was like, Quillan Rowe just gave me a ride to my car. It was like a celebrity. But yeah, that was a good time. So Andronicus, again, an EP, so a short album, and then you did the full length, The Earth and All That Is in It. And was there any crossover material on the 2 records?
Yeah, that's why I sent this picture over, was the 4 songs that were on Andronicus. All 4 of them ended up on the first album, the one we're listening to today, The Earth and All That Is in It, except that we re-recorded 3 of the 4 of them.
That's right. I forgot about
The only one we didn't re-record was the one that I'd like to listen to today, White Horse, because we tried, I think, doing it, and we couldn't do it better than we had done on the first one. It had the feeling of the one on the EP was so what we were looking for. Creepy.
Yeah.
The other thing that we did was we added our bass player at the time, John Olson. He's not on the EP was just the 3 of us, just Kim and Adam Wurtzfeld, the saw player, and me. So we added John Olson playing the bowed bass on the album.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, let's take a listen to it.
Yeah,
This
let's
is
do
White
it.
Horse from the Roe Family Singers. Well, it's on 2 albums, Andronicus and the album we're talking about today, The Earth and All That Is in It.
I had a boy, a sweet young boy, growing in my womb. But the junk that I put into my veins made my flesh his tomb. White horse, white horse, galloping through my veins. I'm a slave to that old white mare since she took the reins. it's the weed I like. When I can't wake up, it's the speed. And if you've got $10, I'll turn a trick for you. I got a habit to feed. But don't you look down your nose at me. Don't you scorn my vice. For money grubbing avarice can too destroy your life. White horse, white horse, galloping through my veins. I'm a slave to that old white mare since she took the reins. Now Jesus said before he died, let him without sin cast a stone. But every man that I've ever seen is sinful to his bone. But don't cry for me, don't shed no tears, because this is a life that I chose. And if my corpse gets to looking sad, it's just cocaine to powder my nose. White horse, white horse, galloping through my veins. I'm a slave to that old white mare since she took the reins.
All right.
Wow.
Thank you.
Roe Family Singers here on the back catalog listening party. And Kim and Quillan Rowe of the Roe Family Singers are joining me, Mother Banjo, and Anthony Ihrig. And we're chatting about their 2008 release, The Earth and All That Is in It. And that song, White Horse, is one of the songs that's on it. And I mentioned before that I love the spooky vibe of this record. And I have to say, so there's a corpse in that song. There's several dead bodies that show up throughout the record. I don't know how many. I didn't do a count before, but at least three or four?
Oh man, at least.
I don't know. I think so.
I mean, I can think of three offhand. Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about this, this record. Was that a theme that just kind of happened, or because you like spooky folk music as well, or?
I had always been, did you want to say something? Go ahead.
Well, I'm just, we did a lot of this stuff. We did kind of in the style of just old mountain music. A lot of it was just a lot of the Quillan songs. And I don't know. I don't know. We also just started, go for it.
No, I think that's true. For me, Accident Clearinghouse had been, a very successful group, relatively speaking, regionally, and somewhat nationally. And I got feeling, as a writer in that group, I started feeling really penned in by, like, we had created this persona, and around the turn of the century, I was just feeling like it didn't represent what I felt like anymore. And as only a stupid kid who thinks he knows everything can do, I was like, I'm done. I throw it away, which was, in hindsight, was really dumb. There are half measures. Life isn't black and white; it's gray. There's in between spots. But the goal, I did a solo record in between breaking up Accident Clearinghouse and starting the Roe Family Singers, and that was originally I'd envisioned that as more of an R&B project, and it turned into a folk project because that's what I knew. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to, with this first album in particular, the writing was kind of a reaction to just not wanting to feel like everything had to be all bright and shiny and happy, which is kind of what Axton Clearinghouse was a dance band, was a at its heart was a swing band, and we played for dancers, which is awesome. And there's nothing at all wrong with that. And it's the two biggest compliments I think you can give a live band are singing along and dancing. You know, if you're doing one or both of those things, the band is awesome. So I don't mean to take away from that at all. Just as an artist, that's not what I was feeling anymore. You know, I wanted to be writing what turned out to be darker stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I think people who may be fans of the Roe Family Singers now, they actually do think of some of those brighter songs, the bluegrassy numbers, and the recently, the last time I saw you guys was at Wee Wednesdays in the Midtown Global Market, where you do a children's show. And of course, there's lots of dancing with the kiddos.
Yep.
And sing-alongs. And so it's kind of fun to dig back into this kind of darker side of what the Roes have always done, but it's kind of concentrated in this one record, I think.
Well, I got to feeling that way again, you know, just what you're talking about. And, you know, people thinking of the Roe family now as just a happy fun time band, which again, no problem. I love doing the kid shows. I love making people feel good. But I made a resolution at New Year's that I've so far been sticking with, and I'm not going to censor my writing towards just the happy stuff. The stuff that I write typically is like that first album. I mean, I'm processing a lot of depression and anxiety, and so it comes out of my songwriting. And so the last record we did had, you know, the original songs on there were a little darker again. The record that we've got coming out in May is actually almost all covers, so it's like a dance party. But then the one after that we're writing now it'll be like this first one again. It's pretty. It's pretty.
Well, I personally find it a lot of catharsis in those dark and gloomy songs, especially in times like now. This is the time I wanted to listen to this record. So
Yeah,
I've been spinning it all week since you mentioned which record we're going to do, you know, and I tell you what, it's one of the few things that's bringing me joy and happiness, and it's in the catharsis of
in the murder ballads.
Well, it's real life, and it feels good.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
I should also mention to folks listening out there, and by the way, hi to Penny from Northfield, Alan from Dallas, Anthony, lots of folks tuning in. If you have questions for Kim and Quillan Roe, feel free to put them there, comments of the songs. If you like what you hear, you might have seen in the song, we have we're asking people to throw a little something in the Roe Family tip jar. It's there on the bottom of the screen, on Venmo or PayPal, or if you like the record as much as we like the record, you can just buy the album from their website, so, RoeFamilySingers.com. So folks can do that as well. So I can't remember what the next song we were going to be hearing here.
Can I say one more thing about White Dwarf?
Yeah.
So there is a the thing about that song is, you know, it presents an addict who's killing herself with her addiction and knowingly doing it. And the idea behind the song was again, this is 2003. Or 2008 when this record comes out. It's 2000. I probably wrote that in 2003 or 4. And this is a long time before Me Too. And I'm not trying to give myself credit for that, but I was just tired of songs always portraying women as victims, even in bad situations like that. So I wanted to give the character in the song, you know, her own agency. And what was really interesting to me was when the record came out, there was a young woman who would contact me every 3 or 4 months on MySpace talking about how much that song meant to her because she was a heroin addict. And she would write to me every couple of months when she was able to get clean for a little bit. And she would, you know, she'd talk about, you know, how much the song meant to her because it was her life. And that was, I think, one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had with music, you know, where there's no, you know, it was very clearly touching somebody and affecting their life. And I haven't heard from her in a long time. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I hope she's doing well. But yeah, it was, that's why we do this, right? You know, touch people. Absolutely. And that was incredible for me. That's all.
That's a great story. And that's kind of what we want out of this back catalog listening party, is to like not just hear about the songs, but hear how people respond to songs. And as we listen to them together, I'm sure everyone out there listening has their own stories related to these songs and how it moves them. So that's a beautiful story, Quillan. It's really nice. I think the next song we have queued up was The Buckeye Tree. If I get that right. And is that more of your artwork, Quillan?
So the artwork for the CD, I was still working with kids when we did this record. And I was really into, who was I don't remember. Shoot, I totally blanked on this. There's an author who we all know as a children's author. It might be Hans Christian Andersen. I could be making that up. But in his lifetime, he was known as a storyteller, but he would tell the stories. He wouldn't just write them down. He would actually tell them, and he would be hired at parties to tell his stories. And while he was doing it, he would do paper cuts, not paper cuts, paper cuttings, like dolls, the dolls that you spread out.
Yeah.
And, no, that's not it. Kim's trying to find the author online here. But I just loved the idea because I got a book of his from the library of his paper cuttings, and they were tremendously intricate, and they were so much more than I'd ever thought you could do with it. So the artwork for this album was all based on that. So there's a lot of repetition, and I couldn't figure out a way, because I wasn't very good at the computer at the time. I couldn't figure out a way to make actual paper cuttings and turn them into album art. So I built all of this stuff in Adobe Illustrator, but I did it the way you would do real paper cuttings. I would design one half of an image and then I would flip flop it. That's the book right there. Yeah, it is Hans Christian Andersen. All right.
Oh, very cool.
Wow.
The book is The Amazing Paper Cuttings of Hans Christian Andersen, and it's beautiful. And there's a museum of his stuff in wherever Hans Christian Andersen is found. That place far away across
Somebody
the
in the
seas.
comments, let us know.
More than 6 feet away.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is one of them, the artwork for this.
All right.
Nice.
Well, let's give it a listen, and then we can chat about it. This is The Buckeye Tree.
The sun was shining, it was so sunny, and through the trees blew a warm breeze. I hung my baby up close to me underneath a buckeye tree. I said, now listen to me. It all is right as right can be. So stay right here with me underneath the buckeye tree. She said, now listen to me. You know my love, it runs deeply, but the city is calling me from underneath the buckeye tree. When I awoke in me. There was no one close to me.
That one's for our bass player, Eric Paulson. He says that's his favorite song.
That's a great tune.
Oh, that's
Thank
awesome tune. And by the way, thanks to Penny, Jocelyn, Ellen, and Bevan all chiming in to say that Hans Christian Andersen is from Denmark.
That's
I love
awesome.
it. I love it. And I want to just say shout out to Anne, my neighbor. This is our life now. I can see on the internet. I could look out the window, but thank you so much for being here, and for all of you for being here. This is exactly what I needed at the end of this week.
Yeah, for sure. Julie and Mark as well. Thanks for tuning in. So that song, The Buckeye Tree, is the first track on the record we're talking about today from the Roe Family Singers, The Earth and All That Is in It. And I love this song because I always think of my husband and I just moved this past summer, but we had lived in the same house for quite a long time, and we had to have a big entry remote for our boulevard, which was like over 100 years old. It was very sad to us. But when the city replaced the tree after removing it, they gave us a Buckeye tree. And it always made me so happy because I always thought of your song. And and whenever we drive by the old house now, I think of you guys with that
Bellin House.
So, yeah, exactly. The old Bellin House.
The old Bellin House.
Is there a story behind the tree? Was there a tree? Was there a Buckeye tree in your life?
So two things. Number one, in a similar story, Ellen, I don't remember. Ellen and I were talking before we went live here about. I don't know if we talked about it on here or not. I don't remember, but we were talking about the folk festival that we played at the old J&S Bean Factory, and at that festival we played that song, and Pop Wagner was there. And, I'm a big fan of Pop Wagner, and I hadn't met him before that. And he came up to me and he said, could I cover that song? Because I'm from Ohio, and Ohio was the Buckeye state. And I was like,
now that's like the best compliment you can get.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't know if he does it or not. I've never heard him do it, but I was just honored that he would even ask, But
by the way,
no,
I was
go
just
ahead.
going to say, Anthony just commented here. He said, I have a friend from Ohio, and she says that the Buckeye tree is poisonous. I don't know. Is that true? And does that factor into the song?
Just don't lick it.
Yeah, you just got to wash your hands when you play with the Buckeyes. They have an oil on them that is toxic,
and you have to let them dry.
You took that verse out.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, we all know about washing our hands these days, so that's
very much
no problem.
We do, Tony, to get back to your question, the song is it's a true story, in that it's about a woman that I was dating before I met Kim, who, the relationship kind of fell apart because we wanted to go in different directions. We live in the city here, but I think both Kim and I feel much more comfortable in rural areas and getting out to the country. And both of us, I didn't farm growing up. I'm not claiming that at all, but I certainly have a lot of farming in my family. Kim's grandma still lives on the family farm up in Cushing, so it's that's important to us. And so this story, so the woman that I was with to finish that story, I wanted more of a rural existence, and she wanted more of an urban existence, and that kind of was the end of the relationship. But why it's a Buckeye tree is, my mom still keeps a pretty active garden, just like her dad did. Gardening was my granddad's, his great passion in life. And it was fall time, and in fall, you put the garden to bed. You pull out everything that's done, and you weed it, and you turn the soil over. You put it to bed. And my mom was talking about how she was turning the soil over, and she was pulling up all these Buckeyes. And she couldn't figure out where they're coming from. And we went on this walk, and on the walk home, we found that there was a Buckeye tree, not even 400 feet from her garden, in the neighbor's yard. But, Buckeyes only fruit every 2 or 3 years, so we had never noticed it before.
We found it when we went for a walk.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Nice. And that's why it's a Buckeye tree. Should I tell? That's where the seed was planted.
Oh,
that's the second bad joke I think we've had.
He's had
well,
that.
Is it better to say it's kind of where the idea germinated?
I don't know. Cut it off right there.
That's all right.
I know.
Actually, I do remember that this is the song.
Nice.
That what?
Nothing. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I like this. But this song was the reason for the title of the album, because we couldn't think. I remember we were in our Robbinsdale house and we were thinking of a title for the album, and we had all the songs listed. We're just looking at everything. We thought, what do all these songs have in common? And I just remembered one of us saying nature.
You.
But yeah. Then I also remember sitting together with these little TV trays, cutting paper.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
I tried to find the paper cuttings that I did for the art for this, and I couldn't. Oh, well, you've been busy keeping the family alive.
Just real quick, I'm always been impressed with your visual art, Quillan, and
Thank you.
I always feel like it's almost hard for me to separate the Roe Family Singers, your brand, your music from the art. It seems to kind of inform, the art seems to inform the music informs the art, the way I look at it. Can you just give us a little brief background on where this side of you comes from?
I went to school to be a visual artist. When I was a kid, the first job I remember wanting was I told my parents I wanted to be George Lucas, because I love Star Wars so much. And they said, well, we've already got a George Lucas, come up with your own thing. Maria says, me too. And for whatever reason, it's, my dad is a very blue collar guy. He worked his way up from the bottom to end up running his company, but he always insisted that I learn a trade, because jobs like his, managers, even though it's what he did and it's how he, fed the family, was he recognized, I think, or at least to him, he thought, that a job like that is replaceable. And in times like we're going through right now, it's the trades that will always have employment, and carpenters, plumbers, auto mechanics, things like that. And I don't disagree with that at all. I think the trades are a wonderful thing. But even though that's what he wanted, when I told my folks I wanted to go to art school for college, not like a liberal art major, but actually go to an art school, they supported me, which was, I was very fortunate in that regard. But I got to my senior year, and we had this class my senior year of college. It was called Business for Fine Arts, and I hated it. And I fought with the teacher all the time. He actually told me to shut up at one point in the middle of class. In his defense, I was a terrible kid. I was a very cocky young man, but that might have been a bit much for a teacher anyways. But it just totally soured me. Like the way he presented what my life would need to be a visual artist was appalling. It was for someone who grew up playing punk music and heavy metal, he was defining selling out. It was like, if you want to do this, you got to sell out. And that's how it is. And I was like, nope, that's not going to happen. And so Accident Clearinghouse had started while we were in college. It was Mike Brady and Jeff Tranberry and Dan Gerber and I had all met in college. Well, Jeff and I went to high school. The band started in college. And so we all graduated, and I said, I'm not doing art anymore. Let's do this band. Let's make Accident Clearinghouse happen. But I still keep a sketchbook to this day. I love drawing. I love design. I love commercial art. I love commercial illustration. And I love a lot of the Roe Family art that's online is old comic books that I appropriate and I collage with. And that, I just love it. I love comic books still, and I love old comic books. So it's fun to play with it. And I definitely think that my sense of humor, and Kim's also, if I can speak for you, we're kind of corny like those old comic books.
I don't have a sense of humor.
It goes well together.
By the way, I have to say that was the highlight for me, was seeing your comic book art for today's show. Made me so happy. I was like, just making it into one of your comics is a big do for me.
Well, thank you.
So it looks like we are going to be moving on to my favorite song from the record. And
speaking of great art.
Yes. Beautiful. And this song just gets me every time. And I'm the weirdo that always requests this at your 331 shows when everyone wants the dancey numbers. I'm like, play Woe Is Me.
I love this song.
Yeah.
Let's give it a listen.
forgot that at the end of that's Dan playing the second banjo, the rolling banjo. I don't know how to play like Tony does.
I don't remember.
So that's Dan doing the 3-finger dookie.
Dan Gorder.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great.
I totally forgot about that.
And actually, that brings up a good point about the record, because even going back to this 2008 release, a lot of the personnel is the same as who you're playing with now. Do you maybe want to talk about who's on the record?
So the record is, most of the band as it exists today, it's Kim and me, and then Dan Gorder playing lead guitar, and Adam Wartzfeld playing saw, Kurt Freilich playing mandolin, Rich Rue playing steel guitar. That's Rob Spitty Davis playing jug. The only difference was we didn't have our fiddle player Rick Lee, who's not with us anymore now either, but he was for a big chunk of in between then and now. And then there was our old bass player John Olson, who has since been replaced with Eric Paulson. So yeah, that's
the wizard.
Kim and I, and it's Dan in the middle.
Boy.
And Kurt on the on the mandolin. That's a mandolin that he built.
We're all kids.
And Adam with his saw. That's at the 331 Club. This is the release party for Andronicus, is what that picture is.
Wow.
This is the old stage. Too.
Yeah, and I chose this picture because you can just see beneath Adam, you can see that it's the old rounded stage that was a 1.5 feet lower than the current stage and rounded. Although that little rounded bit still sticks out of the side of the current stage.
That's cool.
As a step.
Yeah. If folks just tuned into the back catalog listening party, I know Natasha's tuning in, and Emily and John, thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to chime in with your comments or questions for Kim and Quillan Rowe, who are joining us at the Roe Family Singers. And if you like what you heard, throw something in their Venmo or PayPal, the Roe Family tip jar. And
speaking of questions, John wants to know what banjo that is.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
That's my first banjo. That is it's a Japanese banjo. Before all the banjos, before the low end banjos came from Korea like they do now, or China, Japan was the one. You can still buy that exact same banjo. I sold that banjo at the Homestead Pickin' Parlor for years when I worked there. And
it's not your Franken banjo?
It's the one before then. So that is it's got a metal pot. The round part of the banjo is metal. It's aluminum probably. And then it's a neck. It came originally with really bad tuners. So I had this before I knew about the Homestead Pickin' Parlor. I took it to Charles Hoffman, and Kevin Schwab put guitar geared tuners into the headstock and a nice 5th string tuner on the side of the neck. It's a fiber skin head, which I still use today, and Nile gut strings. And I pulled the resonator off of this thing, but because it was metal, I had to file the inside of the banjo down so it wouldn't tear my shirt apart. And then I put little rubber caps on the end of all the J hooks because those were rough too. And I got the idea to pull the resonator off and use nylon strings because Kim and I were staying with Charlie Parr at his house in Duluth, even before Andronicus, so really early, like 2005. And we were talking about banjo sounds, and he says, well, you can pull the resonator off and put nylon strings on it to give it an older sound. I didn't know anything at the time. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And so I went to the Homestead and got some nylon strings and pulled the resonator off, and I haven't looked back. Thanks, Charlie.
And that song we just heard, Woe Is Me, Kim, that's one that you wrote. Is that right?
Yes, I wrote that during college school. I was in the middle of class, and I just started writing. I had an assignment of what was the name of my class? It was
that Women's Studies?
No, it was History of the United States. I don't remember. It was.
Oh, you read Howard Zinn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That was one of the classes that opened my mind. Like, just wow. But we had to write a paper of. Shoot, I don't remember. But I ended up writing the song during class because I was just so inspired. And when I was supposed to be writing my paper in the library, I was writing my song.
So Woe Is Me is really about you struggling with writing your paper. Is that really
struggling in college?
That brings up a question that I had. Just I know, as someone who enjoys writing, and enjoys writing with other people. Do you guys collaborate with these songs, or does one bring it and like kind of do you separate that, I guess, in the family, or is this something that you work on together? These songs.
Depends.
I write a lot, and I haven't for a long time. I'm a really slow writer. I've been a really slow writer. I've been playing for the last year and a half. I've been playing with Matt Wilson, from people know him from Trip Shakespeare back in the 80s and early 90s, and it's like going to music school. It's like I'm enrolled at Berklee College of Music. The guy he's a brilliant writer and arranger, which is something that I've never really understood, arrangements, and it's really inspired me. So I've been writing a lot again. Kim writes too, just I don't think nearly as much. I think that song "Woe Is Me," to speak for you, it really talks about, she makes light of it, but it's her own experiences of being a wife and a mom. And I think it's what a lot of women probably feel like. They run the house and do all the work on top of everything else. So I think that songwriting probably comes pretty low.
Well, in the class that I was taking, we had to, our paper had to be, it was because it was a class. It was United States history of the United States before a certain time. I don't remember. And so we had to write something old timey. And I was going to write about the Carter family, but they came in right after that time frame. And so I just decided to write about.
I didn't know that. The girls turned the surround sound back on. Our girls are watching Peter Pan in the other room, and Kim told them to turn the surround sound off.
That's why I left earlier.
But it's back on.
Because I hear this.
So a lot of times Kim will write something, and she'll have an idea for a melody, and she'll write it, and she'll sing it to me and give me the words to say, do something with it. So I don't know. I don't want to take credit for her writing, though. I mean, that's not at all. She's going to go tell them to turn it down. I'm not trying to take credit for her writing. I mean, she writes wonderful stuff all on her own, and she just doesn't do it as often. But it's pretty, and then I think something else that so we've recorded our last 4 records, I think, with Steve Call at Wild Sound, and.
So I'm out there and I'm looking like, turn it down. It's not loud as they're shoving food in their mouth. Blinds are closed.
I guarantee you everybody watching this can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Steve always talks about arrangements. And so before we do a record with Steve, he and I get together and go over the songs we're going to record. And nothing ever has an arrangement ever, because... And I hadn't really understood it before, but we were talking about it for the record we're going to start recording later this year. And he was talking about, the full process isn't about arrangements. It's about everyone getting together. It's like making stone soup. You get together and everyone contributes what they have. And I think that that's a really good way to think about it. And so with any of our songs, what happens is Kim and I bring a song that we've written, or that, or a traditional song we want to play. And we start playing it. We play it with the band on a Monday at the 331 Club. That's rehearsal.
That's our practice time, yeah.
And whatever happens there over a course of weeks and months of playing the song, that's how the song develops. And so there isn't an arrangement in that sense. But to your point, Tony, it's about a lot about the collaborative process. We hire the musicians that we hire because we like how they play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel comfortable in most instances saying, hey, I think if you do that, it'll be better than what you're doing, because often I'm wrong. They have better ideas than I do.
Very cool.
Awesome. If you just tuned to the back catalog listening party, we're talking with Kim and Quillan Rowe of the Roe Family Singers. And I should mention, because we have a global audience here today, that we are, Anthony and I are broadcasting from South Minneapolis, and the Roe Family Singers joining us from Plymouth, Minnesota. And hello to all of you out there on your Friday afternoon, or in Japan. I guess it's the morning time. So
And I just want to just repeat, one of the reasons we wanted to do this is to give artists an opportunity to reach out, connect with their fans, and for you guys to support your favorite artists. These guys are normally playing Monday nights. They're normally playing Wednesdays. They're normally playing every other day of the week, it seems. And I know that income stream is drying up. So we put their Venmo and PayPal tip jars in the live stream notes, and you can see it there on the screen. So definitely, if you like what you're hearing, let them know.
Yeah, for sure. And today we've been
Even if you
talking.
don't.
Yeah, exactly. And I should also say that again, today we've been talking about their 2008 release, "The Earth and All That Is in It," and that's what we do on Back Catalog Listening Party. We dig into some of our favorite records, talk with artists about them, and get a little inside scoop into the songs and recording of those songs. And I can't believe we're nearing the end of our time together. So, so if we're gonna do one more song, which song would you guys want to do?
Yeah, let's do All I Need.
All right.
Okay,
Is that okay?
that's fine.
Well, is that or My Heart Took to the Earth? Which do you prefer?
I could do all I need.
Okay.
Which one are we doing?
All I Need.
All I Need. All right. We got some more great artwork here
Oh,
to
beautiful.
set the stage. And let's give it a listen.
When you're lying close on me, I can feel your heartbeat. That is all I need. Eyes of fog and skin grows wet. I can feel your breath. That is all I need. Fire it burns and ice is cold. Could we two together go on? That is all I need. Hell below and heaven above. You're the one I love. That is all I need. That is all I need.
Oh, awesome.
So you guys eating those Annie's bunnies, aren't you? The little goldfish like things. Oh man. Well, hope you guys are all out there enjoying your happy hour like we are, listening to the Roe Family Singers. That was All I Need. And I have to say that song felt really perfect today as we're all in quarantine with our families. I think
Yeah.
it's like there's something kind of, I don't know, for all the bad things happening out there. I think one good thing is it's forcing us to take some time and space to enjoy, our loved ones in our lives. So,
Man.
Yeah, I agree.
including for you guys from far away.
Yes. I'm so glad.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm loving reading all your comments, and it means so much to just gather and listen to music. This is
Yes.
another thing that I wasn't doing nearly enough, but I find
Yeah.
that music is the only good news on the internet right now.
Yeah, I
So
think you're right.
Yeah. And well, before we wrap things up, is there anything you want to say about that song?
So, yeah. So we started today with White Horse, which was the first song that got played on the radio. Mark Wheat at the Current played it one night.
Mardi Gras.
He said it was a Mardi Gras song. I don't know,
Wow.
but that's what he said. We were listening to it, and we heard. I mean, it was exciting to hear ourselves on the radio, of course. And
That was the first time I heard myself ever on the radio.
really,
Yeah.
way to go!
It was a little weird.
It's awesome.
Felt like Jared and Lewis.
But we just had that EP. We just had 4 songs, and so we started doing farmers markets right away. Kingfield Farmers Market, particularly, and
I know it's Jared.
yeah, and we were playing the Kingfield after that EP came out, and a father sat down with his 3 or 4-year-old daughter and said, "You guys take requests?" And we said, "Yeah." And he said, "Would you play White Horse? It's my daughter's favorite song."
cool.
And we both just thought, "What?"
Putting a father on
Yeah.
you.
What? I mean, we did it. Don't get me wrong. That's what you do. You're an entertainer. You play songs about heroin addiction for 4-year-olds.
I left some words out and maybe
But do it with a
changed a few
smile.
things.
Yeah. And
Pretty horse.
we got done with that gig, and we said, people are going to request our songs. We need something that we think is appropriate for children. So we wrote All I Need.
Mhm.
That's literally where that song came from, was wanting something that people could request that we wouldn't be embarrassed to play for their children.
And then our next album had a whole bunch of happier stuff on
Yeah.
it.
Well, it's a beautiful
in
song.
between. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that one is also one of Eric's favorite, Eric Paulson, our bass player. So
We'll have to let him know that you played all his favorites today.
And
Yeah,
he's not even on here.
he's not commenting at all. So
It's okay. We'll give him crap later. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and enjoying your happy hour with us, and telling cheesy jokes and the whole thing.
So we're for
This has
Exactly.
been so great to catch up with you guys too. And in
Well,
a
thank
time
you.
like this is everything.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
for
having
sure.
us.
And thanks for being
asking. We're
our
honored.
guinea pigs. You're our first guests outside of ourselves. So
Yeah.
on the second episode of the Back Catalog Listening Party, and Anthony, we have an announcement about who's going to be on next week with us.
Yeah. Do you wanna unveil next week's?
It's
I don't
gonna
know.
be-
I can't.
It's going to be Adam Levy of the Honey Dogs will be joining us. And I don't know yet what record he's going to pick. So we'll find out. So it'll be
a lot to
fun.
choose from.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to, when I was in Accent Clearinghouse, all I wanted was to open for the Honey Dogs. That's all I ever wanted.
Well,
I
here you
understand
are.
that.
You are, Quillan.
Yes.
Hey, on the Back Catalog Listening Party. You can say I beat him to it,
Damn.
Finally.
You know what,
Well-
guys? Can I make a request? I noticed there's still a minute left in the show, and I think my favorite song on the record is another one that we had queued up, but we didn't get to. Do you think we could close out with that?
Yeah.
My heart took to the earth.
Yeah.
This one just moves me every time I hear it. There's something about it that this is my favorite one, and I figured, let's give them an extra 2 minutes of streaming time with that song.
thanks.
So
For the banjo players, this is in double C,
Yeah.
which I learned from Bruce Johnson at the Homestead Pick and Parlor.
all right, let's give this a listen here, and then we'll say adieu.
There was a flock of birds calling over my head, and as they flew, my heart took to the
I love that the banjo has the last word on that song. That's great.
I love that tune.
Thank you.
And I love you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we love you
Very much.
guys.
You too.
Thank you.
Very much so.
And
Sending,
Thank you so much for having us
Yeah.
be there. So
sending
And-
real love and virtual hugs your way.
Yes, yes. And to all of you out there for joining us and coming together over music. It's what we got to do right now.
For sure. Thank you guys so much. And again, tip the Roe Family Singers if you like what you heard, or buy their record at rofamilysingers.com. And yes,
T-shirts.
and buy t-shirts. That's another
Yes.
thing you can do to support bands right now. And and Anthony, thanks for running the tech like you do
Yeah,
everything
thank
for
Yes,
us.
thank you.
Well,
you.
we're kind of learning on the job, but that's life in the quarantine, folks.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Next song right there. Let's quarantine.
In the quarantine.
well,
I feel
thank
so
you
much
for-
better.
Thank you for
guys.
laughing with us too. I
Thank
really
you,
appreciate it.
I want to say thank you to all the people that have been listening
Yes,
and
thank you.
tipping us on the
Thank
Venmo
you
and
very
PayPal.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It really means a lot
it
to
really
us.
does.
And thank you to both of you for doing this show and for having us on
Yeah,
there.
thank you.
It really means a lot to us. Thank
It
you.
really does.
Well, thank you. Cheers, guys.
Cheers to you. Thank you.
Great. And hopefully we'll see the rest of you back here next Friday at 4 p.m. Central for another edition of Back Catalog Listening Party. And if you like what you hear, share with your friends.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Take care. Have a good
Happy
weekend.
Friday.
Guys,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.